Okay, so we are going to be looking at graphing equations of lines in this section. We're going to divide this section up into two parts. All right, first we're going to talk about graphing equations of lines. The first thing we need to know is what is the parent function of the line. So anytime we start a new function, I've told you guys that Algebra 2 is about different functions that we graph. Every time we start a new function, we first start off by talking about the parent function. In other words, in its simplest form, what is the equation of this function? And for a linear function, that is y equals x. The y-intercept is 0, so you can see the graph goes through, I missed the origin over here. Then the slope of the line of y equals x is 1. All right. From this point forward, we'll be looking at how the line y equals x has changed by changing the equation of the line. All right. So, a lot of what we're going to be doing today is, in order to graph lines, we're going to use the slope-intercept form. First thing you have to do when you look for writing an equation in slope-intercept form is solving the equation for y. The second thing you do, once you have an equation set equal to y, you can find the y-intercept, which is always in slope-intercept form y equals mx plus b. The y-intercept is always this point on the end, usually on the end, but it's the point that does not have the x attached to it. So the point is the x coordinate is 0 and b is the y value. So you're going either up or down the y-axis using that b point. All right, then it says to identify the slope for your line, which is always, we talked about this the other day, always the m, and you use that to count from your y-intercept to plot the second point. So you use a ratio of rise to run. You can go one of two ways from the point. You can either go up and over or down and over the other way. So, and I'll try to explain that better in a little bit. And then the last thing is you just draw your line going through the 2 points. All right, so let's practice this. All right, first we have the equation y equals negative 2x. Okay, so for this equation, my y-intercept, my b, is the number on the end. Since there is no number, that means the y-intercept is 0. So we're going to plot the point. X is always 0 for the y-intercept, and then it's just that value for b. All right, and then the slope is the number in front of x right here. So the slope is negative 2. So I'm going to go ahead and put that over 1. You don't have to, but just to show you the ratio of rise to run. So I'm going to plot to a point from the y-intercept so I can draw my line. Since it's a negative, I'm going to go down 2 and to the right 1. Usually we always go to the right, but just go up or down depending on, left or right depending on the negative. Now, that's the same thing as if instead of putting the negative with the 2, I put it with the 1. So I could also draw a point that goes up 2, left 1, and we're still on the same line. That works also. If only I could draw my points in a good spot. Alright, so then the last step is just to draw your line. And hopefully you have a ruler that you can use and make it prettier than mine. Alright, let's look at our next. Alright, y equals negative 1/3 x plus 3. Again, first step is to identify your y-intercept, your point 0b, and then your slope. So our y-intercept is the number that does not have the x attached to it, which is 3. So 0, 3. So my y-intercept is 3. So I'm going to go to where y equals 3 on the y-axis right there. And then my slope is negative 1/3. So I'm going to go down 1 and to the right 3. I could also go up 1 and to the left 3, putting the negative with the 3. And that is this same line. So I just connect my dots in there. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Alright, so on your own, we did this in class today. I want you to draw the graph of y equals 2/5 x plus 2. Alright, so I'm just going to turn off my voice for a little bit and go ahead and plot this and see if you can keep up and understand what I'm doing. Alright, and hopefully when you did that on your own, you were able to get about the same thing. Excuse me. If not, rewind the video. Try it again. Alright, now for example 4, we did this one on our own also. This one is a little bit trickier, and I wanted to see if we could get it without having to have a lot of help. So, you try to keep up. I'm not going to talk during this one, but you try to keep up as I do it. Alright, so first I started drawing, my line got off the points, and so I started drawing that again. I was just bad aim and missing the points. But hopefully you can see that the line starts at positive 10 and then goes down 1 to the right 1. Okay. Alright, on example 5, it's the same thing. We're going to graph this line. But as you can see in our first step, step 1, we need to make sure that the equation is set equal to y, because that's what gives us the easy formula, y equals mx plus b. So we're going to go ahead and take this equation and solve it off for y. So I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides. So 2y equals negative 4x plus 8. Then you divide everything by 2. So y equals negative 2x plus 4. Alright, now that I have that written down, my y-intercept is 4, and my slope is negative 2. Alright, so we plot my y-intercept, and then I'm going to go down to right 1, giving me a falling line, a negative slope. Can also go up 2 and left 1. It's the same line. Oh dear. That's better. Something fish. Hopefully you have better luck with a ruler than I'm having trying to draw these straight hands. Now, if we were to compare this line to our parent function, y equals x, you can see that the y-intercept has changed. The line has moved up 4. And then hopefully you could also tell that the slope is steeper. And then that it has flipped. It's no longer a positive slope, but now it's a negative slope. I just wanted to pull in that parent function so that we could see how this line compares to the parent function, y equals x. All right, on your own, try this one. I'm going to be working it quietly so that you can try to keep up and see if you understand where I'm going. So it's a good self-test for you. Alright, so first step was to solve the equation for y. After that, I located my y-intercept and my slope. So now I'm just going to plot those. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes it's hard to see this grid. Alright, and then I have a positive 5/3, so I'm going to go up 5 and to the right 3. And I like to have more than 2 points, because you can tell I'm not very good at making straight lines, and that sometimes helps me. Draw a better line. Connecting the dots. All right, this was our journal assignment for today. Answer using complete sentences. How do you graph a linear equation? So I want you to write it out using complete sentences. No bullet points. Be sure and use correct grammar, capitalization, etc. But I want you to be able to put your thoughts of how you graph a linear equation into a paragraph format.